access the airstrip due to lack of fencing. A 6-meter building, a threshold 11, and a 12-meter power line, and a power line, yes, and a raised road of 50 meters from the threshold obstruct safe aircraft operation. Overgrown shrubs, boulders, and unmaintained vegetation poses safety hazard, honorable members. And with respect to infrastructure, there's been vandalized perimeter fence and overhead KPLC power lines across the main approach, increases risk. The current condition of Sololo and Turbi airstrips have made them unsafe for use due to safety concern, inadequate infrastructure, and non-compliance with Kenya Civil Aviation Authority regulation as I've outlined, honorable members. In response, the ministry, through its implementing agency, KAA, has initiated a technical assessment to determine the necessary scope of rehabilitation. Based on the findings, a phased rehabilitation plan will be developed through targeted budgetary allocation. Mr. Speaker, sir, upgrade of this airstrip is not contained in the current financial year budget, since the rehabilitation remains dependent, honorable members, of availability of funding. But let me say, given the vastness of Marsabit County as it is, and the mode of access to this county, I'll personally pay attention to ensure we do make these two facilities usable by ensuring that we work on budgetary allocation, Speaker and honorable members. As regarding whether there are plans to relocate the airstrips, and if so, we provided timelines for the same. Mr. Speaker, sir, currently there are no approved plans for the relocation of Sololo and Turbi airstrips. However, if assessments indicate that the current locations present long-term safety, operational, or land use challenges, relocation may be considered as an alternative. Any such decision will be based also on provision of alternative land by the county government of Marsabit, site reconnaissance, including aeronautical studies of the alternative proposed land, geotechnical and environmental impact studies, consultation with stakeholders, including the Kenya Airports Authority, the Kenya Civil Aviation, Kenya Met, county government, NGOs and security agencies, and of course budgetary provision within the mid-term expenditure framework. Timelines, therefore, for any relocation, if deemed necessary, can and will be provided once the feasibility studies are completed. On the third question, Speaker, honorable members, let me just respond to the question without recitation that a comprehensive surveillance and safety assessment of airstrip in Marsabit was conducted by the Kenya Civil Aviation from 28th October to 2nd November 2024. The assessment aimed to evaluate the safety status of aerodromes to ensure compliance with civil aviation regulations and the authority manual of aerodrome standards. And the key finding, Speaker, honorable members, is that the Marsabit airstrip runway measures 1.1 kilometers in length, 16 meters wide, with a bitumen service which is significantly worn out due to erosion and inadequate drainage. The runway service is dilapidated with loose bubbles indicating a lack of proper maintenance program. The runway width of 16 meters falls short of the required 23 meters for a Code 2 runway. The airstrip is frequently used as children's playground by the local community and Kiwanja Ndege Primary School. There is land encroachment with Kiwanja Ndege School, the chief office and a dispensary built on the airstrip land. The windstock is completely damaged, leaving just the pole mast standing alone there. The Dakabaricha location chief office has been constructed within the runway strip. There are no runway age markers, end markers, or taxiway markers, and due to the runway deterioration or deteriorating condition, threshold 31 should be displaced by 350. That last section is displaced by 350, and therefore reducing the usable runway to a length of 730 meters. The recommendation, honorable members, Speaker Sir, are to enhance safety and operational standard. What we must do are to resurface and widen the runway to meet regulatory standards, implementing routine maintenance program to address service wear and drainage issues, restricting unauthorized access to prevent non-aeronautical activities by, of course, fencing, addressing land encroachment through proper demarcation and encroachment, and replacing the windstock and installing proper runway markers and taxiway signage. These interventions are critical to ensuring safe aircraft operation and protecting the traveling public. And with respect to the final question as to whether there are plans to upgrade or expand Marsabit Town airstrip. And Mr. Speaker, the upgrade of Marsabit Town airstrip is to accommodate commercial flights, has been planned in 3 phases as outlined. While this facility is not under the management of KA equally, the authority has already completed phase 1, which included the construction of new perimeter chain link fence with razor wire, installation of gatehouse, gate, septic tank, and sock pit, construction of public washrooms, relocation of overhead KPLC lines. Project cost for this phase expended 61.2 million. Implementation period, Chair, Speaker, honorable members, started in July 26, 2022 and was completed 1 year later on 26 July 2023, and the project is completed and handed over to the client. The phase 2 will involve reconstruction of the runway, taxiway, and apron pavements, overlaying the runway with a 50mm asphalt, that's about a 2-inch asphalt. Installation of runway markings, drainage improvement, including line drainage with side slabs or stone pitching, and installation of airfield lighting and communication equipment. And the phase 3 will involve acquisition of additional land to extend the runway from 1.1 kilometer to 1.5 kilometers, expansion of runway, construction of passenger terminal building, offices, car park, and wastewater reticulation system. Additionally, Speaker, honorable members, feasibility studies are underway to assess the potential expansion of other strategic airstrips in Marsabit County, subject to budgetary allocation. And like I said, Speaker, this is one of our vast, or one of the biggest counties in Kenya, and the mode of transport can only be achieved through facilitation of this kind of transport service. So we'll pay attention and ensure, Honorable Chute, we do address the needs for the people of this county to be able to travel. Speaker, in conclusion, I wish to inform the Honorable House that the Ministry is committed to enhancing aviation infrastructure in Marsabit to improve connectivity, security, and economic growth. Detailed timelines, like I said, of implementation we can provide as soon as we finish the feasibility studies and budgetary approval. And let me confirm, Speaker, honorable members, that we'll, like I've said, pay attention to that. Thank you.
Senator Mohamed Chute, do you have any supplementary question? You can have your seat, Waziri.
Yeah, I do, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I was just wondering, I want the Cabinet Secretary to tell this Honorable House, when he talks about the airstrips are not under the management of KAA, and then at the same time he's contradicting himself by saying the last page, which is page 5, the CS is talking about investment of up to 61 million shillings, and then the last paragraph talks about completion of the same project and handed over to KAA. if these airstrips are not managed by KA, who is managing these airstrips? And why should it be handed over to Kenya Airports Authority? Number two, last general election, 2022, myself and the now President, His Excellency, President Ruto, wanted to go to Sololo. We had to go to Moyale and drive all the way from Moyale to Sololo. Now, almost 3 years. The Cabinet Secretary should tell this House that yes, we don't have funds now, but the programs are this year or next financial year, we are going to start and complete this project. Please, can the Cabinet Secretary tell the people of Marsabit and the people of this country, besides not having money, when are you going to start the project and completion period? Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable CS.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for that supplementary question from Honorable Chirchir. Let me just clarify, Honorable Speaker, Honorable members, that the airstrips in Kenya, today we have a total of about 440 airstrips falling under the Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Forestry under KWS, and KAA. Those under our direct jurisdiction and management are 18. And what happens, honorable members, I guess because of the facility of KAA, we do go into arrangements to support and maintain some of the airstrips like Sololo and Turbi. And so when we have an arrangement to run a maintenance and we do a tender as KAA, we supervise the construction and the contractor will then hand over a certificate of completion, and that is basically why I said it was handed over to the client. We are the client when we are in charge of the construction, but those two airstrips belong to the Ministry of Interior. Honorable Chair, Honorable Chairman, Speaker rather, honorable members. So we'll continue to cooperate with Interior, KWS, to deliver the various airstrips, continue to support and work together in terms of providing budgetary support, and that suffices to basically clarify why I did indicate that handed over back to the client being the contracting authority, KAA. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Senators, before I give you an opportunity to ask more supplementary questions, question number 046, Senator Fatuma Nduro, is as the related subject matter on the airport in Isiolo. So I request you also ask that question so that the CS can handle all the interventions together. Then we'll go back now to the other areas on loans. Yes, Senator Chute.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I asked two questions. Question number one was the airstrips belongs to who? Then number two, the CS should give us the deadline on when to start the project and when to finish. That question he didn't answer.
Yes, if you have that capacity to determine now, then proceed and give the timelines.
Honorable Chair, thank you again. Sorry about that. And I just thought I was repeating myself, Chair, because I had indicated that this is the vastest county in Kenya, and therefore we'll pay attention to make sure that budgetary provisions are provided, and I'll pay personal attention because the mode of transport in a county as vast as Marsabit, if we don't provide these airstrips in a usable, maintainable mode, it becomes a challenge, and therefore we'll pay attention and push for budgetary support to ensure that Whereas the Ministry of Interior did provide that budget and we've been maintaining, we'll work with the Ministry of Interior to ensure that we do provide a budget and maintain those airports. Thank you, Speaker.
Senator Nduro, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my question number 046 reads, how much money has the government allocated and utilized so far in the project for the modernization and rehabilitation of the Isiolo International Airport? B, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a status update on the payment of compensation to owners of the parcel of land acquired for the project and indicate when outstanding balances will be paid? C, are there plans to extend the runway at the airport? And if so, could the Cabinet Secretary provide timelines for the same? D, could the Cabinet Secretary also explain why the airport is not operational and outline steps being taken by the government to address the situation? I thank you.
Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The question for the member of Isiolo with respect to Isiolo Airport. Honorable members, with respect to question A, which is seeking the total amount of money that the government has so far allocated and utilized in the project for the modernization and rehabilitation of Isiolo Airport. Isiolo Airport, honorable members, is an international airport, given its locationing on the Lapset corridor, and what we need to do to open up that corridor and that development corridor to basically improve the economic activities of this country, because the current northern corridor is very congested. So, members, and I say that deliberately because Isiolo being an international airport, and I could see aerodrome featuring a single asphalt runway that measures 1.4 kilometers in length and 30 meters width, 3 number taxiways and an apron. The airport is approximately on 800 acres, honorable members. That is 330 acres of land, of course, in both Isiolo and Meru counties. Major construction work started, honorable members, in 2011 and were completed in 2017. The airport modernization is part of the Lamu Port South Sudan Ethiopia Transport Corridor Lapset development project, as well as Kenya's Vision 2030 program. Isiolo International Airport was strategically planned to enhance access to northern Kenya and connect the region with major cities and international destinations, thereby promoting tourism and business travel. The airport aims to stimulate economic growth and attract investment. Future plans include expansion to further enhance its services and operational efficiency. The construction of the airport was executed in 3 phases, with phase 1 being the development of the runway and taxiway in 2011-2013. The phase 2 was the construction of the passenger terminal building, office block and car park, completed in 2016, and development of the access road, apron, expansion and drainage works as a phase 3 and completed in 2017. Honorable members, the cost of phase 1, 844 million, phase 2, 963 million, that phase 3, 849 million, and the runway pavement 47.95 million. On item 5 on that table, there is a runway pavement rehabilitation works that started in 2021-2022 at a cost of 55 million. There is a proposed construction cargo processing facility at a cost of 24.3 million, which started in 2021 and was completed erection of floodlights, street lights, installation works, which started in 2017 and was finished in 2018 at a cost of 27.78 million. There is extra mechanical service construction of a pump house, an elevated water tank, and a borehole, which also has been completed at a cost of 55 million Kenya shillings. There is relocation of a school, KK Chirchir School Phase 1, and there is also a Phase 2 with both costing 97 million, the 76.8 and the 20.4. With the project total, and both have been completed, honorable members, with the project cost at 2.974 billion, approximately 3 billion, honorable members. You can see the significance, big investment, and we need to really get down to answer the next question: why is the airport not operational after that level of expenditure? And on the question of the compensation to residents who were displaced as a result of the project, and how we are planning to finalize the compensation, Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable members, on November 2nd, 2004, the Isiolo County government agreed to set aside a portion of trust land for the expansion and promise alternative land for those affected in nearby areas. Similar discussion took place in the defunct County Council of Meru North. The authority held consultation with stakeholders, including district commissioners at that time, and council, culminating in a supportive workshop that took place on January 14, 2005. Benefits of the airport project were highlighted, leading to further collaborative planning between the councils. And after completing a joint fiscal planning exercise, the path development plans were submitted and approved by the Ministry of Lands and Housing in April 2006. The authority received a letter of allotment for approximately 253 hectares on May 23, 2006. Honorable Speaker, members, meanwhile, in or around November 2004, the then Isiolo County Council conducted an identification exercise of persons affected by the expansion of the airstrip, and a full council adoption of the same was obtained. The affected persons were to be relocated by the County Council of Isiolo. As of to date, honorable members, Speaker, due to multiple conflicts, claims, the authority has not been able to compensate the project affected persons due to the fact that the genuine affected persons by the airport expansion have not been identified, as the process of vetting genuine persons and determining just compensation for the land used for expansion of the airport solely lies with the National Land Commission. In addition, there are multiple court land matters pertaining to Isiolo International Airport, which we have annexed. With respect to, and certainly we need to, given the time frame and the historical time frame, we just need to complete that, and therefore we need to really get the National Land Commission together with the county government and of course ourselves to close that issue, as the concern has been brought out by Senator Dulo. As regarding plans to extend the runway at the airport, and if so, whether we can provide a timeline, Speaker, we have listed projects that have been planned to make Isiolo International Airport fully functional, to support both passenger and cargo traffic, and then really support that investment that has been laid, that has been put on the ground. These projects are all dependent with the allocation of funding, and being Isiolo being where it sits in the Lapset corridor, the National Treasury will work very closely with the National Treasury to ensure that with the projected budget estimate that I have enumerated of 4.8 billion, that covers what we need to do, which include rehabilitation of the existing runway through the midterm program, an evaluation of the existing runway was done and a recommendation of fully reconstructing the runway made due to the failures that have been observed since inception. I think there's a bit of clay cotton there, and we need to redo that. It will cost us 1.5 billion. Runway extension of 3.5 kilometers to really land the bigger flights. Extending the runway will cost us 1.5 billion. We need to put in a fire station at an additional 300 million. We need to complete the airport perimeter fence. We need airfield ground field lighting, which will cost us 250 million. We need aircraft traffic control tower. With the expansion noted above, we may require that, and it will cost us an additional 300 million. Improvement of drainage around the airport to basically address that water logging due to the type of soils there will cost us 300 million. And land acquisition for VIP car parks, hangars, and road expansion. A total budget, like I said, of 4.8 billion. And like again, to reiterate that Isiolo being where it sits in the LAPSSET corridor, and for the strategic definition, we will work very closely to secure the investment already on the ground by facilitating a completion of this airport. On the question of why the airport is not operational and the steps we are taking to address the situation, Mr. Speaker, sir, the facility currently accommodates a non-scheduled flights primarily involving caravans and helicopters, but is experiencing significant runway defects due to flooding caused by terrain challenges and expansive black cotton soil. These issues have led to low pavement classification values, limiting the type of aircraft that can operate safely. Honorable Speaker, in November 2020, the authority engaged the Material Testing and Research Division under the Ministry of Transport to assess the runway pavement and recommend corrective action. The Kenya Airports Authority is awaiting additional funding from the National Treasury to address these issues with proposals that include reconstructing the runway, like I've said. And the project, the runway, being the international status, positioning of Isiolo, I did say these defects, as they present a serious risk, including safety hazards, operational limitation, increased maintenance and cost, will be something of priority for us. And therefore, timely repairs are crucial to enhance safety, expand operational capacity, reduce long-term cost, and attract more users, ensuring our facility long-term viability. And again, members, we will pay attention. Isiolo is a critical geopositioning in the LAPSSET corridor. And so it is of national interest as much as it's of interest to the senator from Isiolo. Thank you.
Senator Dulo, you can ask your supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and CS Chirchir for the response. Unfortunately, I've gotten the response just half an hour before you came in. I might not be able to interrogate, but since I know what is happening on the ground, I can be able to ask a further question on the same. Now, on the part of the airport, having started in 2011, and I know you have reiterated that this airport is really important for the government and also for the people living in those areas. And looking again at the policy of Kenya Kwanza bottom-up approach, this is an airport that should have helped the people from that area. And secondly, it will ease a lot of congestion at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, more specifically for those people who are transporting miraa and also doing business to more specifically northern part of the country. Waziri, you have said you have used 2.9 billion, which is a huge chunk of money. And the balance required is about 4.8. This is a project that started in 2011. As we look at that airport, it's just a white elephant project. And I know the government cannot miss 4.8 million to uplift and upgrade and develop that part of the country. CS, I know supplementary budget is going on. And I know, as you have said, this airport is really important to you. Can you give us a timeline within which you are going to commit to finalize this project? Because it's really important for us. Employment, economic empowerment and all that. The second question, Mr. Speaker, is on compensation. As you have said, NLC is taking us round in circles. I have asked this question on this floor of the House. Even in the last Senate, same stories are repeated. I have personally gone to KAA to follow up. They have all the names of the people who need to be compensated. NLC has the list. But the communities are being frustrated after their land being taken in 2011. And I hope Waziri is listening to me, Mr. Speaker, is as a result of frustration by NLC that people went to court. Can the minister give us a commitment when this matter is going to be resolved? Because NLC has everything. I even have the list of the beneficiaries. They cannot say they don't have the list. In fact, there was no land even set aside by the county council. I have followed all that. In the absence of the list, the land set aside for by the county council, actually in the last parliament, county government of Isiolo even brought more lists of beneficiaries to NLC, bringing more confusion. So this matter is really very sensitive. Can the minister tell us when they are going to conclude on this matter and settle the outstanding compensation? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, we are going to take two more supplementary questions so that the CS can answer 3 questions at a time. Senator Kathuri Murungi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also want to weigh in from where my sister, Isiolo Senator, has left. Honorable CS, this airport, the initial idea was very good to do the airport in Isiolo, as you have really stressed. But if you go to that airport, Honorable CS, maybe you have been there or not, the CEO, Kenya Ports Authority, has been there severally, and your team, including the CS, the PS. But if you go to that project, you realize that Kenya, we are really wasting resources because the airport is huge. Actually, it is at the level of Eldoret Airport. Actually, better than Eldoret Airport, if I may say. But if now...
Senator Mandago, what is your point of order?
You know, Eldoret is not your airport.
Senator for Meru.
What is it?
Isiolo is not yet even classified an airport. Eldoret is an international airport receiving not less than 5 cargo planes. I expect you to be asking the CS when is he expanding the runway so that we can export horticultural produce from
Yes,
this place.
Deputy Speaker.
Don't compare my airport with an airstrip meant for livestock.
Order, senators. Order, senators. Order, senators. Order. Order. I was going to address that. Order, senators. Senator Deputy Speaker, Senator Madago was on a point of order. You should have taken your seat while he was talking, but that's been overtaken by events. Senator Madago, I didn't quite hear your point of order. What was your point of order?
You know, Honorable Speaker, under 105, standing
Order,
down-
Chirchir, can we hear the senator in silence?
Yes. Understanding 105, standing order 105, Honorable Speaker, and a statement of facts. The Senator of Meru should provide evidence that the Isiolo Airport that is not operational is better than Eldoret International Airport. He is on record. He said it. Yes. This business of people demeaning projects in other counties, Honorable Speaker, is not correct. And I was just passing information to the Honorable Deputy Speaker that he should actually be asking the CS when is Eldoret International Airport going to be extended, because it's more visible and achievable and economically viable.
Senator Deputy Speaker.
For sure, I don't know why my friend here is offended by my statement. You know, Speaker, I was building my case to showcase that Isiolo International Airport, actually it is international level, is as huge, even better facilities than what is in Eldoret. I've been to Eldoret Airport. I've been to Isiolo. Actually, I want to be informed by my colleague here, Senator Chirchir. He requested for some form information to me, which I accept. Then
Senator
I'll be able
Chirchir.
to execute my issue.
Senator Chirchir.
Mr. Speaker, you know, for me who has been to Isiolo International Airport, it has more better facilities than Eldoret. Eldoret, the reception area of Eldoret looks like a toilet or ramshackle, Mr. Speaker, and they don't have a direct flight. So in fact, they are better and there are no direct flights to Eldoret International Airport, Mr. Speaker. The area senator should be pushing for a better upgrade of Eldoret International Airport instead of undermining Isiolo International Airport, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Madago, what's your point of order?
My point of order, Honorable Speaker, is on 105. Can Chirchir really say that Eldoret Reception Airport is equivalent to a toilet? When Nandi County itself is suffering from serious problems, they are not yet even at the level of getting an airport. They are still struggling with all-weather roads, Honorable Speaker. The other day we were being treated to demolitions in Nandi. It's a very disorderly county that they have no capacity to commence.
Senator Mohammed Faki, what is your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, I think it is a misnomer. It's a misnomer for some of these so-called international airports to be called international airports. If an international airport doesn't allow flights to land at night, how can that be an international airport? Airports that close at 5 p.m. That cannot be an international airport.
Which airport are you referring to?
Eldoret. And you know, recently, Mr. Speaker, sir, we voted for Eldoret County, Western District County, to be called a city, Eldoret to be a city. And how can a city not have an airport that works 24 hours?
Senator, this is the last point of order. Senator Veronica, what is your point of order?
Honorable Speaker, I am getting lost with the proceedings in the House right now. The Cabinet Secretary is in the House today. He's answering questions regarding the question that was raised by the Honorable Senator for Isiolo. And he has the standardization of international airports. Now, senators are arguing whether these are international airports or not international airports. The marking scheme on the standards of those airports is in the House. Why don't you ask him to define for us what an international airport should contain and whether Isiolo and Eldoret have international
Senator
airports?
Paul Thangwa, what is your point of order?
Honorable Speaker, I have not finished.
No,
I'm not done. You cannot define when I'm done. It is only the Speaker who can define when I'm done. Honorable Speaker, I'm trying to help the House. Let the CS for transport
define for the House what an international airport should contain, and whether Uasin-Gishu Eldoret has an international airport and Isiolo has an international airport.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Paul Thangwa, what's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, I don't understand the fuss, Mr. Speaker, but we are all in agreement. Isiolo Airport is not working. Eldoret Airport is not working. That means nothing is working. That means the government is not working, Mr. Speaker. We all agree the government is not working, and we should not continue with this debate, Mr. Speaker. Nothing is working. This is an indication of what we have been saying, Mr. Speaker. They should agree that the government is not working, then together we come up with the plans of how we are going to take care of Isiolo and Uasin-Gishu Eldoret Airport. Nothing is working. Nothing.
Thank you. Order, senators. Order, senators. Order, senators. Order, senators. Order, senators, order. Order. We need to progress. We need to progress. Can we allow Senator Kathuri Murungi to complete his submissions?
Honorable Speaker, can you protect me from
Senators, order. Let us hear the senator in silence.
Actually, we are discussing an issue touching on livelihood of the whole region called Upper Eastern and actually Central Kenya. So, Mr. Speaker, you know, when we are discussing serious issues of national importance, the senator for Endole, Uasin-Gishu, can also do business in Isiolo. So when we are addressing matters of national importance, we should not just take these issues as regional matters or county matters. So what I was saying is that, the Honorable Mr. CS, the investment that is in Isiolo and the Isiolo airport is non-functional. It is really shameful to this republic. More than 5 years ago, I visited the CEO of Kenya Airports Authority, and he gave me the same report that we need 4.8 from the exchequer. Mr. CS, this money can even go through the PPP way, so that also, yes, just a minute, Mr. Speaker, so that also that airport can be actualized. So, Mr. CS, this 4.8 billion is very little money if you want to rescue Isiolo Airport. And you don't need to do everything the same day, because if it is expansion of the runway, it is 1.5 billion. Why don't you even start with that, as you assemble more funds to do the air traffic control, to do the fire station? Why don't we start even with the 1.5 billion for the runway extension, so that at least we can be able to get that airport functional, Mr. CS. Mr. CS, we have a similar question next year about the Mera accidents along Meru-Nairobi Highway. Those accidents as a result of the non-functional airport in Isiolo, because these Mera guys bring Mera to Nairobi so that they can ferry them to Somalia and other countries. But because there is no airport, that is why you see them landing very fast. Mera is very perishable, very perishable. If the airport is functional in Isiolo, there will be no accidents along the highway, Mr. Wana CS. So if we can be able to collect one issue, including the vegetables that we produce. Fatuma Nduro, you very well know that they are from Nanyuki to the junction, Isiolo Airport, Isiolo Junction. There is a lot of flowers and vegetables that needs to be ferried through Isiolo Airport. So the abattoir now in Isiolo, you need to transport that meat to Saudi Arabia through Isiolo Airport. So this is a very important facility that should be completed. And this is what we require from the Kenya Kwanza government. If they give us this one, we can talk other business. But this is like a mandatory project that we need from Kenya Kwanza.
Thank you, Senator. No, I'm not taking any more point of order. Senator Enoch Wambua, ask your supplementary question.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you. Clearly, I don't belong to that region or that league where we are discussing international airports. my supplementary will stem from Marsabit, where we are discussing airstrips. Mr. Speaker, my question is to the CS on 3 airstrips in Kitui. Mr. CS, we once used to have Kitui airstrip. We once used to have Mutomo airstrip. And there has been a proposal for a Sikuru airstrip. The Speaker, none of this is functional. None of this is operating. In fact, I will respond to Chirchir, Senator, because he's asking me whether Kalonzo did not build the airstrip. And I want to tell him that he did not. He did not, but he helped to build airstrips in other regions in this country. I hope that the people in office today then will help to build airstrips where
Order, senators. Senators, if I may remind you, we only have 1 hour left. We have several questions to go through. These kinds of interruption will only lead us to drop some of the questions or even drop the supplementaries that you want to ask the CS. So let us please maintain decorum.
Thank you, Chair, for
and
protecting
Senator
me.
Wambua, please, no long stories. Just ask your question.
Mr. Speaker, I will take exception to that, but I will comply because I've listened to other senators giving a lot of stories. I have no stories, Mr. Speaker, to give. I have no stories to give.
Thank you, Senator.
Only to say that, Mr. Speaker, I would want to know the fate of those airstrips. Because, in fact, the Kitui airstrip has now been degenerated to a level of being a grazing field for neighbors. Nothing is working there. And you know, Mr. Speaker, I thank God that at least as we speak today, the PS in charge of airports and all aeroplanes in this country is one Terry Mbaika, who is seated here, and he comes from that region. So that Chirchir does not say that the people of Ukambani don't belong to government. I wonder what he means when he says don't belong to government. This is a very senior officer in government, in charge of aeroplanes and airports. I mean, this is a serious person from the region. Well, we are seriously in government, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to know whether then the presence of that PS would make it even better for the people of that region. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Cabinet Secretary, you may take those 3 questions before we take the next 3 questions.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, honorable members, for those supplementary questions. Let me start with Mheshimiwa Dulo's concern that we certainly will need to sit down together offline with the National Land Commission to address some of those pertinent issues of land compensation and the funding thereof to be able to resolve it once for all. You remember I said there are really historical issues, and sometimes it doesn't look like anybody's paying attention. So out of these chambers, Speaker, we will pay attention. I would like to invite Mheshimiwa Dulo, maybe Chairman Otachi, so that we can resolve those outstanding issues and address the financial requirements and compensation for the project affected persons and compensate them accordingly. As regarding members, the concern of this airport or that airport, I did indicate in my substantive answer that the Isiolo airport sits on a development corridor, LAPSET, which is the second development corridor for this country to move out of the congested northern corridor, which anchors Kenya or puts Kenya in an anchor state through the port of Mombasa, servicing Uganda, servicing DRC, Congo, and the countries in the northern corridor. And to the extent we will understand the context on why we are developing the northern corridor, not to be a regional corridor or a regional airport for that matter, but to open up a new development corridor and decongest the current corridor, but more importantly, leverage on Kenya's geoposition to service Ethiopia, South Sudan, and you do know what is currently happening between Djibouti, South Sudan, and Ethiopia. And therefore, this is not a regional airport per se. It is an international airport that sits on the Lapset corridor, and that seeks to support Lamu, that we have already developed 3 parts on a deep water port. That seeks to really open up a whole corridor to service South Sudan, Ethiopia, and part of northern Uganda. So it's important, members, to distinguish the context of Kenya as an anchor state and primarily or secondarily benefiting the people of eastern and central Kenya because of the location of this airport. So I want to confirm that because this was a regional project, not just a national project, Isiolo will be built because we need to leverage on our geopositioning. When I say regional, you understand, like this month we've just postponed a summit meeting by the 3 heads of states. This draws significant advantage to Kenya because when I said Kenya is an anchor state, it's basically leveraging and taking a competitive advantage of our geopositioning. And therefore, it's not about just Isiolo, it's about Kenya. And so when I say Isiolo will be built, it is not just about Isiolo, it's about Kenya leveraging on that corridor and ensuring that we do take that advantage, because if we don't, there is currently the talk between the other 3 countries on forming another regional bloc. And therefore, Kenya has to seize its position and be able to take advantage of that corridor. And Isiolo, Lamu, and the components on the Lapset corridor will be developed. So I want to confirm that, and we should work together as leadership to ensure that we seize this opportunity and develop Lapset as a second development corridor for this country, and take that anchor position to basically open a corridor to service South Sudan, Ethiopia, and a bit of northern Uganda. So, this is a national project, not just a regional project, and therefore, like I said, members, we will work together and pay attention to ensuring that the whole of the Lapset corridor and the components, including Isiolo International Airport, is fully developed. And so I think I want to leave at that, but not to fail to basically just confirm that in the context of what I've said, we will pay attention together and ensure that we provide resources to develop Isiolo as a key spoke or a key component in the Lapset corridor that we all desire to fully develop. And of course, the secondary benefits, which could be primary in terms of perishable goods like Mira, not having to come to Nairobi, but flown out of the international airport of Isiolo. I think that basically covers what Senator Kaduri did raise as concern, really Isiolo being an asset that has not been fully developed. And it is true, it has not been fully developed, just like Lamu Port and the whole corridor, because it's a big, huge regional project. If it was just for the purpose of building an airport in Isiolo, I don't think we'll be putting in a disposition of about 10 billion to fully develop Isiolo. But to the context that we're really opening a new corridor, and when I really, as minister, say we'll develop Isiolo, I think every senator should be saying we'll develop Isiolo, because it is a key component in opening that corridor, that second corridor that will decongest and take advantage of the other 3 countries who are landlocked. With respect to Senator Enoch Wambua's question, I think we will really work very closely with all members to ensure that all our airstrips are functioning. We are working with the county governments to ensure that, if I may say, none of the airstrips break even. They are not profit making, but they facilitate trade, movement of people, and so on and so forth. And it is in the process of opening up the country. And therefore, even as we work with the county governments, who we have a framework that we do the runway, we do the aprons, they do the terminal building, we will need to see really bankability or sustainability of this airport, so that when budget is not provided, it doesn't become a grazing field or something like that. And therefore, we'll work very closely to ensure that all our airstrips are functional for ease of movement of people and goods, in spite of the challenge of most of them or all of them not really having a bottom line in terms of revenues to sustain the expenditure or the cost that are incurred year in, month out, and annually. So let me then basically say we will work very closely to ensure sustainability of our airstrips so that they are all functional, and will endeavor to provide budget. The situation obtaining in Marsabit is about the same situation obtaining in Kitui, and it's about the same situation obtaining in my home county of Bomet and all the other counties. But we will work to ensure that we do make them functional to support ease of movement of goods and people. Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, honorable members.
Senator Miraj.
Asante Bwana Spika, uniruhusu kabla ya kuuliza swali langu nitoe pongezi kwa serikali, hususan Wizara ya Uchukuzi na Barabara, kwa kuweza kuruhusu ndege za kimataifa za Uturuki na Qatar kuweza kutua moja kwa moja katika kiwanja cha kimataifa cha Moi. Tarehe 26 mwezi wa 4 mwaka wa 2023 niliweza kusimama na kupeana ombi ya kuruhusiwa kwa ndege hizo za kimataifa kuweza kutua katika kiwanja kile, na ni pongezi. Swali langu kwa waziri ni kwamba kuna mikakati gani ya kuboresha viwango vya kiwanja kile ili kiweze kuwa na muonekano kimiundo msingi, kwa sababu wale wageni tunaowatarajia katika kiwanja kile sasa watakuwa ni wageni wa kitalii na wamezunguka katika mataifa mengine ya nje na wameona mionekano mizuri. Je, kuna mikakati gani ya kuweza kuona kwamba uwanja wa ndege wa Moi umeweza kuboreshwa na kupata muonekano mpya ambao unaendana sambamba na viwanja vingine vya kimataifa? Wenyewe Waswahili husema, waziri, kicheko cha takameno. Je, tumejipanga sawia kuona kwamba wageni tutakapokuwa tunawapokea wanaona hali tofauti na ile walioiacha hapo awali? Asante sana.
Senator Mazayo.
Asante Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, swali langu kwa waziri ni kwamba hichi kiwanja cha ndege cha Isiolo kina wale engineers na maafisa husika ambao waliweza kutengeneza hii airport. Bwana Spika, tukiangalia cha kwanza ni kwamba hawa professionals waliweza kutengeneza ripoti yao na wakasema ya kwamba kiwanja hichi kitakuwa tayari ikiwa kitatumia pesa bilioni 1.5. Bwana Spika, nataka kujua majina ya hawa engineers ambao waliweza kutengeneza hii airport na wakasema watatumia ile katika ile kuangalia watatumia pesa ngapi za serikali, watatumia bilioni 1.5, waweze kuwekwa wazi hapa wale maengineer waliofanya kazi hiyo, ama wahusika wote waliokuwa na uwezo wa kutengeza hiyo kiwanja cha ndege. Bwana Spika, swala langu la pili, ikiwa hivi sasa imeonekana ya kwamba hii ardhi chini yake ilikuwa haiwezi kuchukua mzigo kama ule wa ndege, ama ilikuwa haiwezi kuchukua mzigo ya vitu vizito, imepatikana imelegea ile ardhi kichini, kisayansi ama kiinjinia ni kwamba iko very weak on the top, na huko chini ndio kumeharibika kabisa. Na hawa walikuwa ni hao engineers ambao walifanya hiyo contract na wakafanya recommendations zao. Swala langu ni kwamba ni hatua gani serikali imechukua kuona ya kwamba hawa ma-engineers wameadhibiwa. Na pia swala la pili ni kwamba waziri aweze kutueleza hawa ma-engineers walisomea wapi hiyo engineer wao. Na mwisho bwana Speaker.
Senator Mazayo.
Bwana Speaker.
Ushauliza swali yako. Ushauliza swali yako.
Swali langu la mwisho ni kwamba nataka kumuuliza waziri.
Swali ni moja, Senator Mazayo.
Ndio swala ni moja, nataka kuongezea. Pole, nataka kuongezea. Ni kwamba ni hatua gani ambayo inaweza kuchukuliwa kuona ya kwamba athari kama hii haitatokea, na hawa maengineer wanatakana kumsaidia rais, ili rais aonekane akisema kitu chake kitafanyikana kifanyike. Hawa ndio wafisadi kwa sababu wanataka kurudi tena watengeze pesa. Airport ni hiyo pesa ambayo imekuwa allocated ni ile ilikuwa ambao wameitumia, sasa wamekuja wameweka double, kutokea wameweka mara mbili, kutokea bilioni 1.5. Sasa wanasema ya kwamba wanaweza kumaliza kwa bilioni bilioni 4. Kwa hiyo bwana Speaker, tunasema ufisadi kama ni hatua gani ambao waziri anaweza kuchukua ama amechukua kuona kwamba hawa wahandisi waliofanya hii kazi wamechukuliwa hatua gani?
Asante Senator, tushafahamu swali yako. Senator Mandago, sijui kama utafata mtindo na wewe ulize swali kwa Kiswahili.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Speaker. Swali langu kwa waziri ni serikali ina mipango gani ili kuongeza runway ya Eldoret International Airport na pia kukarabati airstrip ya Baringo County ambayo inatumika sana kwa mambo ya masuala ya usalama kule Kerio Valley. Mheshimiwa Speaker, ningependa kujua kwa sababu hii imekuwa kwa mpango wa serikali kwa muda mrefu kuwa uwanja wa ndege wa kimataifa wa Eldoret itapanuliwa ili uchukuzi ya mambo ya bidhaa za kilimo siweze kuboresha. Mheshimiwa Speaker, Mheshimiwa Speaker, unavyoelewa kaunti ambazo zinazunguka mji wa Eldoret ni kaunti ambazo zina sana uchumi wao unategemea mambo ya kilimo, na kwa hivyo tungependa kama serikali waziri atueleze kama iko kwa mipango ya serikali kwa mwaka ya matumizi ya fedha ya 25-26 kupanua uwanja wa Eldoret Airport ili sisi kama wakulima tuweze kuitumia. Mheshimiwa Speaker, na hiyo airstrip ya Baringo ambaye sana inahusika na mambo ya usalama na inasaidia sana wakati tunakuwa na majeruhi kule Kerio Valley kwa sababu ya mambo ya usalama. Maafisa wetu ya usalama na pia raia wanasaidika kwa kupewa huduma ya kwanza na ya haraka kwa mambo ya matibabu. Mheshimiwa Speaker.
Honorable Senators, because of time, I'm going to take only 2 more supplementary questions from the dashboard so that we can move on to the other questions which are on the order paper. Senator Manzo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the CS has said that the airstrips belong to the Ministry of Interior and not Kenya Airports Authority. And I want to ask him, what is he going to do so that they can have full control over the airstrips, bearing in mind that airstrips are for evacuation purposes and also for emergency landings. And could he, in that particular state, what's the status of Makindu airstrip, which is also on the flight line to Mombasa, from Mombasa to Nairobi?
Thank you, Senator. And those are 2 questions. You only allowed 1 supplementary question. Joe Newton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My supplementary question is related to the answer that the CS gave on Senator Chute's question, and that is relating to Sololo airstrip, Mr. Speaker. because the CS says that there is airspace obstruction by Kenya Power transmission lines, and there is unauthorized use where the airstrip is being used as a dumping site, Mr. Speaker. And so my question to the CS would be, what is it doing? Because we should have a multi-agency approach so that, I mean, what is the ministry doing and what was the ministry doing when Kenya Power erected poles and power lines across the airstrip? And what is the county, how is the ministry working with the county government to see to it that the airport is not, the airstrip is not turned into a dumping ground, Mr. Speaker? So it's about the multi-agency approach. What is the ministry doing to work with other arms of government?
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
We've understood you. Cabinet Secretary.
Asante sana Speaker. Siwezi kusema kwamba nitawezana na Kiswahili ya Senator Miraj, lakini hata hivyo nilielewa sabamba swali kwamba tuna mipango gani na mikakati gani kuinua hali ya airport ya Mombasa, Moi International Airport, ili kwamba the two airlines, Qatar Airlines and Turkey Airlines, who have allowed frequencies to land in Mombasa, do accommodate the kind of tourists and guests who will be landing in this airport. And certainly, Speaker, honorable members, we will have to operate Mombasa International Airport. We are working on the runway. I think there are some underground streams which have been causing problems. That's being worked on. We are doing some pavement works. We have got a private lounge which is privately run. We are operating the dignitaries lounge. And certainly, as the kind of guests come into Mombasa, we will have to pay attention to ensure that we do give the kind of customer service that is commensurate with the kind of clients. And therefore, I think it was more of a congratulatory message with respect to the new two airlines that will be landing henceforth in Mombasa, directly in Mombasa. But even as we do that, members, you know that we are very cautious in managing frequencies with our counterpart airlines so that we do get commensurate frequencies in those other cities for our KQ airline. So thank you, Senator Miraj, for your congratulations. We are going to operate Mombasa and ensure that it meets the standards for the kind of tourist destination and the number of passengers we'll be handling from those two destinations. With respect to Senator Madzayo's question as regarding, that's a substantive, that's not a supplementary question, Speaker, and I want to beg to, because we want the names, the engineers, which universities they went to, and suddenly I want to bring a substantive answer to that question. So if my former colleague and workmate in the historical life we have come from allows me, we can work on a substantive response to that question. As regarding the question from, I think, Baringo, this is Senator Mandago, what we really need to do, we're having plans to improve Eldoret Airport from a 3.5 kilometer runway to 4 kilometer to be able to uplift bigger flights for the kind of agricultural produce that we get out of Eldoret or that we bring into Eldoret, and the altitude. So the plans are there, and there's a small dispute to be resolved to allow us to extend the kilometers from 3.5 to 4 kilometer, and a lot of work has been done. If Senator Mandago, former governor, can work with us to resolve that small dispute in that formerly Aerotech or whatever land ahead there, that is having a small challenge, we'll be able to extend Eldoret very quickly from 3.5 to 4 kilometer runway. Baringo airstrip, like has been echoed by Manzo, my colleague and old-time friend, Senator Manzo. And it does come out that we really need to resolve the fact that most of the airstrips are under interior. And so is this particular one, Baringo airstrip, which is key for security and basically addressing the concerns of the region. So I'll work closely with my colleague from the Ministry of Interior to see, like we are working in other airstrips, to see how to improve Baringo airstrip to be in the state that can be used at any time, because when emergencies strike, you need a ready working airport. So Senator Mandago, I will work with my colleague from Interior and see how to operate and improve Baringo airstrip. I think I've answered Matsai with respect to, again, addressing working very closely with Interior to have a framework on how we can maintain some of the airstrips which do belong to Interior, and yet, like Sololo or the other airports in Marsabit, we are able to, like I mentioned earlier, work together and make sure that those airstrips are functioning. Senator Nyotu, we will really allow me to go back and do some homework on how a government agency can come in and probably lay lines within the airstrip and cause that security concern that I did report in line with Kenya civil aviation requirements, that it should be a safe landing place, and we should not have secondary installation of power lines or, for that matter, deployed as a dumping site. But you know, it's really got, honorable members, to do with functionality and serviceability of the airport with respect to revenue. If our airports are not really revenue generating, they tend to degenerate if budget is not allocated and if we don't get frequent flights. So like I said, we will have a real good plan to ensure that our airstrips are in state of maintained, so that they do not become idle sites that look available for somebody to lay power lines, or that look available for anybody to do dumping of waste. And therefore, that's why you see us securing an airstrip as soon as we come in by fencing, even before we put in an infrastructure. So I'll pay attention, Chair, honorable members, to the concerns raised, more importantly to ensure that our airstrips across the country are functional and instead of use. Asante, thank you.
Thank you, CS. Honorable Senators, we're going to proceed with the questions of the day. Senator, Cabinet Secretary, you've made a commitment to provide a substantive answer to Senator Mazayo's question. I hope you'll be able to do that in 2 weeks. Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. 2 weeks. Next question by Senator Sigei on behalf of Senator James Murango. And honorable senators, we are going to take all the 4 remaining questions, have the CS reply, and then take supplementary questions.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to ask the Honorable CS on behalf of Senator Murango, who has assigned me this mandate pursuant to a letter dated 9th of April 2025. And Honorable Speaker, before I ask the question, I want to welcome the Honorable CS to the Senate. And I'll straight go ask question number 17 on behalf of Senator Murango from Kirinyaga. Question 17A, how many road accidents reported between January and December 2024 involved vehicles transporting miraa along the Mwea-Embu Highway, and could the Cabinet Secretary state the number of lives lost as a result of those accidents? Question 17B, could the Cabinet Secretary explain the absence of speed limit signs along the said highway, which continues to impede the effective prosecution of speeding drivers? And question 17C, could the Cabinet Secretary explain what the government is doing to permanently address the speeding and reckless driving along the Mwea-Embu Highway, and state whether there are plans to supply speed guns to the Kirinyaga County Traffic Police Department, which currently has got none? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next question by Senator Professor Senior Counsel Ojenda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask question number 23 on the order paper. And the question, Mr. Speaker, is in 3 parts. Part 1, could the Cabinet Secretary, and Mr. Speaker, I am alive to the fact that we have a competent Cabinet Secretary who will address all these questions. I've also seen the responses, some of which will need, I'm sure, a very brief highlighting. Yes. Could the Cabinet Secretary, roads and transport, indicate the annual budget allocation for projects by the Kenya Urban Rural Roads Authority, KURA, and the Kenya Rural Roads Authority, KERA, for the construction and upgrade of roads in Kisumu County for the period 2020-2021 financial year to date? Part 2, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a list of all planned road projects by KURA and KERA in Kisumu County and indicate the budgetary estimates for each? And lastly, what measures has the ministry put in place to ensure the timely completion of all currently incomplete road projects by KURA and KERA in Kisumu County? And could the Cabinet Secretary provide respective timelines for the same? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The next question by Senator of Makueni, Senator Daniel Manzo.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Question number 40. A, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a progress report on the construction of the Namanga, Kajiado, Loitoktok, Emali, Ukia, Itangini, Tawa, Masi, Mwala, Kidimani Road, and explain the delay in completing the projects? B, what measures has the government put in place to ensure that construction works on these roads meet the required standards? And could the Cabinet Secretary explain the deteriorating condition of the tarmacked stretch from Emali town to Dundune Market Center, which is already riddled with numerous potholes? C, what measures has the government put in place to fast-track the project, and could the Cabinet Secretary indicate when the project will be completed? D, could the Cabinet Secretary also provide a status update on the payment of compensation to owners of the parcels of land acquired for the project, and indicate when outstanding balances will be paid? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. The last question by Senator of Isiolo, Senator Fatuma Dulo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is 045. A, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a list of all incomplete projects for the construction and upgrading of the roads undertaken by the Kenya Urban Roads Authority and the Kenya Rural Roads Authority in Isiolo County, and provide reasons for any delays or stalling of the projects? B, how much has the government set aside for these projects in the financial year 2024-2025? C, what measures has the government put in place to ensure the timely completion of those projects? And could the Cabinet Secretary provide timelines for their completion? I thank you.
Cabinet Secretary, you may respond. And since you've provided the response in a written form, if you could be very brief in your response to the 4 questions, Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, honorable members. Let me take the question in the order that they came, and with respect to the question raised by Senator Wakili Sige on behalf of Senator James Murango, let me straight away respond as to this is a question concerning the number of accidents reported between January and December 2024 involving vehicles transporting Mira along Moya Embu Highway and the number of lives lost. Mr. Speaker, sir, I've presented a table to summarize that, and like you just mentioned, so as not to be wordy, we've had those accidents with the first one at Wanguru traffic. That happened sometimes in 2024, 18th December 2024, with the victims tabulated in the table, and it was along the father's Moya Embu Road, and we have the situational position provided. The next one that also happened within Wanguru, and what that was reported within Wanguru traffic station, and that involved a Toyota Probox, registration KDL 806. Again, not to be very wordy, it is tabulated involving so many victims. Michael Philip Kashoki, who was a cyclist and was deceased. Teddy Njeru, pilot passenger, and also was unfortunately deceased. And the situation today with respect to the case going in the magistrate court in Moya, court number 2. Again, the third one involving a vehicle KDN 233, a Toyota Hilux pickup with driver Kevin Munene, and the victims therein, Geoffrey Kinywa Nyaga, who was a rider, who also unfortunately was deceased. That happened on 27 January 2025 along Moya Embu Road in a location called Mururi, and the situation on what's happening in court. Honorable Speaker, members, 2 cases reported in 2024, like I've mentioned, with 5 victims, 4 deceased and 1 injured, and 1 case reported in 2025 with 1 victim, 1 deceased. On the second question, honorable members, where the members asked the speed limits, signages, and on the said highways, and which continue to impede effective prosecution because the drivers do give reasons that there were no signages. Members, indeed, in the absence of speed limits on roads, present significant challenges for law enforcement and public safety. To address these challenges, the ministry has taken a multifaceted approach that includes technology, public education, and legislative action to create a safer driving environment for all road users, including Mira transporting drivers. One of the major challenges regarding speed limit signs, honorable members, and cutting across not just in Kirinyaga County, is vandalism of road signs along major highways. As a result, drivers often claim they did not see the stipulated speed limits, making it difficult to secure conviction in court for overspeeding offenses. In collaboration with road agencies, we shall improve, and I undertake that we will improve signage maintenance, including anti-vandalism measures, by prioritizing regular inspection and maintenance of speed limit signs, installing tamper-proof, vandal-resistant signages, use of CCTV surveillance or community policing to monitor and prevent vandalism. I think this is more effective. Use intelligent speed adaptation systems in vehicles, event data recording, and so on and so forth. Secondly, Speaker, honorable members, we'll do continuous public awareness of community engagement using Ngao structures by conducting awareness campaigns to educate locals on the importance of speed limit signs, enhancing road safety, encouraging community involvement by forming local community to safeguard road signs. And thirdly, we will employ alternative speed monitoring solutions, which include implementing road markings, paintings, which are not prone to being vandalized as a backup, increasing the use of speed cameras and digital enforcement tools that do not rely solely on physical signs.
Cabinet Secretary, if I may guide you to just skim through the answers because of time.
And on the final question on the issue of what we are doing to permanently address this speeding challenge, currently Kirinyaga County has only one speed gun stationed at the Sagana traffic base. This device is shared amongst many traffic bases: Makutano in Sagana, Makutano in Mwea, Sagana, Kagio, Kutus, that road, and Keregoya, and therefore, to enhance road safety and cap speeding, the relevant agencies are actively implementing measures to ensure that we do provide more of these devices so that we can cap this challenge, particularly of speed, overspeeding, by ensuring that we do proactively provide some of those speed guns. I submit. On the second question regarding, that was question 023 from Professor Tom Ojenda. Let me.
Sorry, Cabinet Secretary, do you have a point of order, Senator Korir? No, it's out of order. You cannot have a point of order against the CS response.
The budgetary allocation by Kura and Kera on some of the roads in Kisumu County, highlighted by Senator Professor Tom Ojenda. Speaker, members, let me state that the budgetary allocation for the roads under Kura for the requested financial year, I have indicated the numbers highlighting the roads in Maseno, 10.6 kilometers, the roads in Kisumu, 123.1 kilometers, a total of 133 kilometers, with a total budgetary allocation in 2024-2025 of 258 million. I've shown the historical allocation in the year 2020, 21, 21, 22, 22, 23, and 23, 24. And the Kenya Rural Authority Kera has 2 roads being upgraded to pitman standards in Kisumu, namely Maseno Kombewa, Kalandini Road, which is 37.5 kilometers, and Koru Town Junction, a C35 road, and access to Koru Bible College, 11 kilometers road. The budgetary allocation for each of the projects, honorable members, Professor Tom, is shown. Koru Town Junction, C35, has a current budgetary allocation of 97.23 million, and Maseno, Kombewa, Kalindini, D245, and Maseno Town Roads has a current budget of 54 million in the current financial year. And we have also indicated the historical budgetary allocation for those 2 roads. The ministry through KERA has planned performance-based maintenance of roads which currently are in procurement process under various contracts, and also progress of works completed as provided in the table attached. And that table is annex members. And on the third question, measures taken by the ministry on the projects under KERA are to provide sufficient budgetary allocation and further engagement with the National Treasury to allocate more resources to ensure timely completion, engage with contractors to facilitate faster progress, for instance, subcontracting of works to mitigate capacity constraint on the Maseno Kombewa Kalindini Road, sanctioning of contractors for slow progress on Koru Town Junction C35 Road, Koru Bible College, and further the ministry shall prioritize several critical roads for upgrading to pavement standard in this county under some affirmative actions we are currently looking at. I've also, honorable members, given the table that shows ongoing projects under Kura in Kisumu, urban town, total kilometers of about 9.6, impacting on various roads from Tomboya Loop to Kenya, Kenobura, World Vision, Kenya Re, A8 Junction, totaling about 425 million, and currently work in progress at 36%. Let me then look at very quickly, and I will really, honorable members, say what we are doing to hasten the progress on some of these roads that we have done with the securitization and therefore payment of pending bills that will help us to expedite the work. With respect to the question from the Makueni Senator Dan Maanso 040, which is the concern on the construction of Namanga, Kajiado, Loitoktok, Emali, Ukia, all the way to Kidhemani Road, and the delay in the completion of the project, and the measures the government is putting in place to ensure construction works on the road meet the standards and move quickly. Honorable members, Speaker, the ministry through Kenya National Highway Authority is currently not carrying out any construction on the listed roads links due to unavailability of funds. However, what is being carried out is maintenance work of existing roads and design, and progress is as tabulated, where in Namanga, Kajiado, we have a performance-based contract for maintenance of this section of the road that is divided into two. Isinya, Basil, 47.5 kilometers, with a budgetary allocation of 137 million, and the second section is Basil Namanga with a budgetary allocation of 353.3 million. On Loitoktok Emali, we also have a performance-based contract for maintenance of this road, which is also divided into two sections. The section from Emali is Sineti Road, which is 57 kilometers with a budgetary allocation of 174 million. And the second section is Sineti Loitoktok, 56 kilometers, members, with a budgetary allocation of 197.9 million Kenya shillings. It's a 3-year maintenance contract which is about to lapse. On Emali Ukia, a routine maintenance contract is under procurement and works are expected to commence in May. For Mwala Kadhiani, another maintenance, periodic maintenance contract for maintenance is under procurement. Again, we will award in May. Ukia Ithangini is currently maintaining, Kenya is currently maintaining this section between Wamunyu and Nduluki Junction through a routine maintenance contract. And Masi Mwala, the section has been under maintenance through a periodic maintenance contract covering Nyumvi, Machakos, Wamunyu Road, and Makutano Mwala Road, honorable members. With respect to the designs of Kajiado Loitoktok, design was completed a while ago and will be updated once funds for construction are available. We don't have funds for that road, Dan Manso. We can look at that and see how to prioritize. Emali Ukia, the road was designed to completion as part of the East Africa Economic Corridor, including the following roads: Kadhiani, Kamba, Mwala, Makutano, all the way down to that loop road. That's passed and includes Matiliku, Kilili, Kwa Philip, Wote, Ukia Junction, and all the way to Makutano Junction and Wamuyu. The design has been completed, honorable members, and construction shall commence, and again, working on the budgetary allocation. The ongoing maintenance work are being implemented in accordance with the standard specification for roads and bridges and special specification, and further constructions of the newly designed section will also comply with relevant standards. The construction timelines for the future contracts whose designs have been completed will be set once funds again becomes available. And there are currently no ongoing construction requiring acquisition of land. However, for the future construction projects whose design have been carried out, compensation for land to be acquired will be done once funds become available. On the question number 45 by Senator Dulo, on the matter of incomplete projects for construction and upgrade of roads undertaken by Kenya Urban Roads Authority and KERA in Isiolo County. Let me respond as follows, and then I'll make a general statement on the delayed project with respect to roads, not just in Isiolo, but the country at large. The Ministry of Roads, Speaker, honorable members, through Kenya Urban Roads Authority has one ongoing project for upgrading to pitment standard in Isiolo Town, funded under GOK development, and I've given the details there for this particular upgrading of Isiolo Town roads. In Isiolo Town, which is funded by GOK 10 kilometers, we have a funding allocation of 838 million, and the contract is ongoing. Honorable members, amount certified today is 255.7 million, and the percentage of work done is 34.49%. Amount due to the contractor to date as advance payment is 83.8 million, and there is a pending bill payment of 121 million, and the challenges that include delayed disbursement of funds to contractor, road encroachment within the construction corridor, heavy rains, and so on and so forth. I really want to address, Honorable Speaker, the challenge of delayed roads due to pending bills, and say that, honorable members, when we got approval to securitize the 7 shillings additional road maintenance levy that we did get Parliament approving sometimes in July last year, we have seen securitized that 7 shillings. That is basically selling the 7 shillings to an investor who give us money today, or who has given us money today, and they then take the right of the 7 shillings and collect discounted over a period of time. And today we have so far received 63 billion. We have allocated those fundings to pay contractors 40% of all outstanding invoices on certificates for work done. We have worked on a return to work formula through a settlement agreement, which forces contractors on receipt of the 40% to return to work as they wait the 60% payment. And I want to really assure this House that the delayed or the suspension of works that we have witnessed in the last few years is going to be something of the past. We are getting contractors back to work, and we'll see contractors working on our roads in all the counties in the country let me not say in the coming weeks, because most of the contractors are already, who have received payments, are already resuming work. And therefore, Speaker, honorable members, for ongoing projects where the impediment has been delayed payments, that is for now a story of the past. And I want to thank the House for allowing us to securitize the 7 shillings and to get the contractors back to work. This also, members, addresses the contracting GDP to construction, where with contractors pulling out of construction site, there's been no much activity in our roads, and therefore payment for cement, payment for petroleum products from our petrol station, payment for steel, employment of our youth has been really contracting too, because of that contracting GDP from construction of roads. And therefore, with that facilitation and support, we should be getting back all the contractors, or we are getting back all the contractors, because let me say almost 50% as I speak here today have been paid, and the remaining 50% are being paid this week. Hopefully, we'll complete payment by next week and get all the contractors back to work, and therefore there should be no road which, on account of delayed payment, should be suspended, because we have also worked through a settlement agreement to ensure that on receipt of the 40%, they start work as we complete the listing of this securitization facility that brings in a total of 175 billion to fully pay for pending bills. Going forward, we'll then work very closely with everybody to ensure that we do provide budgets to address the milestones that we expect contractors to deliver over a period of year, or a period of a budgetary year, so that we don't get into this situation where contractors, banks, roads being very political and being really what spurs economic growth are suspended because of non-payments. Because, Honorable Chairman, members, the table with the numbers as regarding the various roads that are in question, budgetary allocation is presented. Let me beg to stop. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Honorable Senators, seeing the time, I will invoke Standing Order 34-2A to extend the sitting by another further 15 minutes so that we can ask some supplementary questions. And I will start with the members who had asked the question. Senator Sigay. And Senator Sigay, please be brief, and keep in mind that if you can just ask one supplementary question so that we can give the other members time.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I will beg that you allow me to ask more than one question, because on the one hand, I'm asking this supplementary question on behalf of Senator Murango. I've got two supplementary questions, and mine, which is entitlement to me by virtue of that standing order, I'll be very brief. Honorable CS, the response that you have given us to question 2 under the alternative speed monitoring solutions seems to be futuristic in terms of how you have captured it. Could you be able to tell the House the timelines within which this attempt will be done, that is painting of speed limits as a backup procedure or system where signs have been removed? And second supplementary question, Honorable CS, is also as regards the implementation of the piloting of speed cameras by the agency NTSA. How long will this piloting process take, or rather when will it be concluded, and facilitation of the complete rollout? And thirdly, Honorable Speaker, I would love the Honorable CS to comment on the rampant accidents lately reported across the country, one of which, Honorable CS, is the specific one which you went on site over the weekend in the accident in Kaplong around Bomet, where we lost 15 lives. There is rampant reporting of such accidents. I recall you made a commitment that you will give a comprehensive report as to that particular accident, and also the action the ministry is undertaking to ensure that we reduce this, because part of the challenge is the role of police officers or traffic officers and the roadblocks that are unnecessarily laid along various roads, particularly in that particular road. There is the issue as regards the narrowness of the road. You made a commitment that you will give a comprehensive report. I'll be glad to hear that. Thank you, Honorable
Senator
Speaker.
Professor Senior Counsel Ojenda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think that let me thank and congratulate the CS for responses that are on point. But let me also ask a supplementary question. When a CS, just can you confirm the timelines for the completion of the Moroni Junction Mamboleo Road, and whether there are any plans to improve to bitumen status the Awasi Katito Road, which is only 19 kilometers. Only 19 kilometers.
Next question by Senator Daniel Manzo.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, in my question, in all those roads under A, that network, for it to be complete and to interlink all those counties and also interlink international roads, Emali Ukia Itangini Tower is the only place which is not tarmacked. And although it is going through routine maintenance, my question to the CS is when are you going to tarmac Emali Ukia Itangini Tower, and all that area will be networked with the tarmac and vehicles can move freely for movement of goods and business. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Fatuma Dulo.
Thank you, Waziri, for your response. Number one, I have an issue with Kipsing Oldonyuro Bridge. I have been on that road. The contractor has abandoned the site. So, and the response to say that 60% is done is not true. It's only 20%, if I'm not wrong, that has been done. Actually, literally, she has done nothing, the contractor. Number two, page 4, I'm seeing upgrading to block standard and maintenance or whatever. The last table. Now, it's showing the budget provision is 27 million plus, but the amount paid to date is nil. And then they're saying no pending payment. I don't know what that means. If the project is complete, then the total amount should have been paid on those two projects. Now, the other thing I wanted to raise, CS, most of the roads done by national government is also claimed by county government. If you can put billboards and signs to show that it is national government project, it will make a lot of difference. Please, even for accountability purpose. So you better instruct your engineers and your DGs to instruct the contractors on the road that they should put signage wherever they are. And finally, Mr. Speaker, just final one. The roads that are ongoing, there are rains right now. And actually they are sweeping all the buildings because the drainages are not working and the works are not complete. So I think in future, when they are actually doing the work and the rains are almost coming, they should ensure that when it rains, the houses, individual houses are not affected. I thank you.
Cabinet Secretary, if you can respond to those supplementary questions first.
Let me thank you again, Speaker. And on the first supplementary question by Senator Sigei on the concern of being futuristic with respect to solutions that we plan to really employ to address the rampant accidents on our roads, and how quickly are we implementing the camera, the camera solution? How quickly is the rollout? Speaker, these solutions will be implemented in a multifaceted way, because you will appreciate that some of our black spots don't just have ripples and possibly bumps to slow down or to warn road users to slow down. These are quick wins that we can implement immediately. And we've given direction after the challenge that we have lately faced on the rampant road accident, but more importantly, in black spot areas, that there is absolutely no reason why ripples and bumps and proper road signages are not placed in black spots. And black spots are known and absolutely, there is absolutely no reason. So we'll implement those very quickly. With respect to the cameras rollout, you may or may not be aware that we are currently working on implementation of a number of cameras in our cities, and so it's not so much the testing; it's more of the budget, and so we will move quickly to ensure that we do deterrent when road users know that our cameras are available and watching them, or when we know we are being watched, we tend to really do what is right. So we'll work to ensure that we provide budgets, and rather than just have one camera on that road, if we had 4, 5, 6 mobile cameras, and road users for deterrent purposes do not quite know where the camera is because they are mobile, we should certainly bring up the level of discipline and be able to curtail the accidents, the rampant accidents on our roads rather. With respect to some of the things we are doing, honorable members, you know, we employ the alcohol law for drunken driving, and there were investigations are still going on of drunk drivers causing accidents like the one that happened along Kablong Road. And what we have done is finalize the regulations on the alcohol law, because previously when we employed alcohol law and before it was outlawed in Milimani Court in 2014, the Traffic Act did not cover alcohol law as a tool that could be employed, because it was not covered as an offense under the Traffic Act. So what we've done is Parliament has since amended the Act. We've developed regulations that are currently in the AG's office, and we hope to gazette this week, and thereafter introduce alcohol laws to ensure that we don't have drunken drivers really endangering lives of our road users for that matter. The issue is with the Traffic Act. The Traffic Act is under NTSA, while the implementing agency or the enforcement agency is under Interior. So those are some of the things we are working to polish up so that we can address this challenge on the carnage in our roads of innocent lives. As regarding supplementary question, Awasi, is it Awasi Moroni? Awasi Katitu. Let me not make a commitment on the floor of the House, because a number of these require budgetary scrutiny. We need to work very closely together. Professor, we can sit down and look at level of accommodation on the basis of prioritization of roads in the county, but more importantly, to say we currently have commitments on our ongoing projects totaling to about 2.1 trillion Kenya shillings. And for the budgeted allocation of about 50 million every year, that would take us about, 20, 30 years. I don't want to say 40 years, because 2 trillion divided by 50 is 40. And then so we really need to tread very carefully and do proper prioritization, do proper affirmative to ensure that we are building Kenya in an equitable way. So allow me, Speaker, Honorable Agenda, to basically look at this specific road with respect to the programs going on in the county and the level of priority from the leadership of the county. As regarding Emali, Ukia, and whether we need to urgently prioritize that road, Manso and Tamak, being the only section in the whole of the corridor, again, these are very specific requests with respect to really supporting this transnational corridor, and therefore allow me to basically sit down with Senator Manso and look at that. I did say, with the respect of one of this bridge that has been mentioned, was it Kipsing Oldoreni, or the bridge that you mentioned, Oldonyiro? Kipsing Oldonyiro Bridge, that has a budget funded under RDLF, and where funding has not been. I did say, honorable members, we are at we are fairly in a good place today, given the fact that you allowed us to securitize the 7 shillings. And any road project which on account of non-payment is being stranded or suspended, for that matter, we are getting back the contractors to work. We did not raise money for particular roads for particular region. We raised money for all the stranded roads in Kenya, and we are paying for all of them and getting the contractors back to work through a supplemental settlement agreement that stipulates how we're going to get back to work, how we're going to pay them subsequently, including bargaining and negotiating for write-down of 35% of the interest that they had levied on the principal. So we are in a good place. We will need to chart the way forward together to ensure that budgetary allocation is adequate, or if it is not adequate, is commensurate to the work that we hope to complete, or where we hope the work certificates will be issued during the period, so that we don't slow down and ensure that we really get our road sector working again. Like I said, we already have 63 billion. It is a fundraising of 175 billion. It is not alone on government books. We are doing off-balance sheet. We basically sold the 7 shillings to a special purpose vehicle who has looked at the historical performance of road maintenance levy, is paying us a 175 billion and spending time to collect the money without recourse to the National Treasury. And therefore, we should be able to, in the coming week, this week and next week, pay all the contractors the initial 40%, and on account of what they have signed for in the settlement agreement, go back to work on all those roads which are stranded, and work together to ensure that going forward we do proper budgetary allocation to support work certificates for the completed work for the particular year. So, members, I want to again thank you, Speaker. Thank you, members, for the support you've given us in the road sector, and particularly on working together to ensure that we settle pending bills and we get all our contractors in any road in Kenya back to work. I thank you.
Yes, Dulo. Give Dulo the mic.
Sorry, Waziri, on the signage and also on the 2 roads that the budget is there, but what has been spent is not showing on the table. I don't know whether you've looked at it, or maybe you can check later and give me a response. Thank you.
I think where there's a budgetary allocation and the payment has not happened, let me check the details. That could just be an exchequer release. It's a cash flow issue. It shouldn't be a major issue, and let me undertake, Speaker and Dulo, to address that with specificity, because where there is a budget and work in progress, there should be no reason why it's just a cash flow issue with respect to exchequer release, if it's coming from exchequer. But if it is from RMLF, and because we have the RMLF money, there should be no reason why we can't just make payments where there is a certified certificate for work done. We should be able to pay that. I thank you.
Thank you, CS. Honorable Senators, we have only 2 minutes remaining. I'm not sure if we are going to be able to make any substantive supplementary questions and get replies to the CS. So please allow me to give leave to the CS, and we proceed to the next order. Honorable CS, thank you very much for your attendance today, and thank you for your response. And we wish you all the best in your duties, and you may take leave. Honorable Senators, it is now 1:14 p.m. and having concluded the business of which I extended the hours of sitting pursuant to Standing Order 34-2A, the Senate stands adjourned until later today, Wednesday, 9th April 2025 at 2:30 p.m.